Conversations with Sri Ramana Maharishi. What are chakras? Maharishi said, Atma alone is to be realized. Its realization holds all else in its compass. Shakti, Siddhis, etc. are all included in it. Those who speak of these have not realized the Atma. Atma is in the heart and is the heart itself. The manifestation is in the brain. The passage from heart to brain might be considered to be through Sushmana. Yogis say the current rising up to Sahasrara ends there. That experience is not complete. For Jnani, they must come to the heart. Hridaya, heart center or core, is the alpha and omega. It is said that yogis experience during the course of their yogic exercises several lights and colors before they actually realize the self. Once upon a time, Parvati, the consort of Shiva, did penance to attain the eternal. She saw certain lights. As they were all felt and seen by her senses, she concluded that those lights did not constitute the eternal. After a long penance, she beheld a very powerful light. She came to the same conclusion that this light also did not constitute the eternal. Then, after severe penance, she attained peace and then concluded that the self is the eternal. The existence of things is seen only through light. Then, how can it be wrong to say that it is that light by which one realizes oneself? The knowledge of realizing oneself is that light. During Nirvikalpa Samadhi, it exists as the knowledge by which one is enabled both to see the light seen in Samadhi and also that which is beyond that light. It is not ignorance. Concentration is not thinking on more than one thing, it is putting off all other thoughts which obstruct the vision of our true nature. Now it appears difficult to quell the thoughts, whereas in the regenerate state it will be found more difficult to call it thoughts. For are there then things to think of when there is the self alone? Thoughts can function only if there are objects. How can thought arise at all? Thoughts makes us believe that it is difficult to cease thinking. If the error is found, one would not be fool enough to exert oneself unnecessarily by way of thinking. Devotee asked, What path do you advise? We need your grace. Maharishi said, Be still, do not think, and know that I am. When the news of a devotee's marriage was conveyed to the Maharishi, someone asked, Why has he done this? Surely he will now fall back. The Maharishi laughed and said, Why should marriage interfere with his spiritual progress? Unless satisfaction of bodily wants such as hunger, thirst, and evacuation of excreta, etc., is done, meditation cannot progress. The results of vichara meditation are willpower, developed concentration, control of passions, indifference to the worldly objects, virtue, and equality to all. Hypnotic methods are not advisable to induce yogic samadhi because light gazing stupefies the mind and produces catalepsy of will temporarily, and it secures no permanent benefit. A deity may be used to meditate upon as a mental image until the meditator merges into the self. Then the image will fall away of its own accord and the Daitya will vanish as a part of the world illusion. Only the Supreme Self is to be the object of meditation. Truly speaking, meditation is remaining fixed in self. But when thoughts cross the mind and the effort is to eliminate them, the effort is termed meditation. Remain as you are, that is the aim. Devotee asked, I have no peace of mind. Maharishi said, peace is our real nature. It need not be attained. Our thoughts must be obliterated. The Gita method is the one to do it. Whenever mind strays away, bring it back to bear on meditation. Devotee asked, I cannot bring my mind to meditate. Maharishi said, an elephant, when free, puts its trunk here and there and looks restless. If a chain is given to it, the trunk holds it without being turned this way and that as before. In just the same way, the mind is restless if it has no aim. If an aim is fixed, the mind is restful. Concentration is impossible so long as there are sanskaras. They obstruct bhakti also. Practice and dispassion are necessary. Dispassion is the absence of diffused thoughts. Practice is concentration on one thought only. Firm perseverance is also necessary. The one is positive and other is negative aspect of meditation. Yes, our minds are weak. The help called grace is necessary. Service to the Guru is only to obtain that. In the presence of a strong minded soul, the weak mind comes under control more easily. That which is grace. There is nothing else. Devotee asked, what is the best way to get rid of thoughts? Maharishi said, it is the mind. Is it the mind that tries to kill itself? How can the thief catch himself? It cannot be. So, the best way is to try to realize your real nature, what you really are. When we see our self, then there are no thoughts to be got rid of. Devotee asked, how may the mind be controlled? Maharishi said, there are two methods. One is to see what the mind is, then it subsides. The second is to hold something else, and control of the mind comes therewith. Yoga serves to concentrate the mind. The predominant idea keeps off all others. The object is according to the individual. Devotee asked, my mind is not steady in meditation. Maharishi said, whenever it wanders, turn it inward again and again. The mind is too weak. Strengthen it by practice, by reducing the thought to a single one. Devotee asked, how to meditate? With eyes open or closed? Maharishi said, it may be done either way. The point is that the mind must be introverted and kept active in its pursuit. Sometimes, when the eyes closed, the latent thought rushed forth with great vigor. It may also be difficult to introvert the mind with eyes open, as that requires strength of mind. When the mind takes in objects, it is contaminated. The main factor is to keep off other thoughts and to keep the mind in its own pursuit without taking in external impressions of thinking of other matters. Then devotee asked how to control thoughts. Maharishi said the wavering of mind is because of its weakness due to dissipation of its energy in the shape of thoughts. When one makes the mind stick to one thought, the energy is conserved and the mind becomes stronger. Strength of mind is gained by practice, as the Gita points out. In the earlier stages, mind reverts to the search only at long intervals, but with continued practice, it reverts at shorter intervals until finally it doesn't wander at all. It is then that the dormant Shakti manifests and the mind dissolves itself into the life current. Devotee asked how to get rid of the mind. Maharishi said, is it the mind that wants to kill itself? The mind cannot kill itself. So, your business is to find the real nature of the mind. Then you find there is no mind. When the self is sought, the mind is not. Abiding in the self, one need not worry about the mind. The illumination is experienced in the lights in the right side of the chest, in the heart, when self is realized. Kundalini and chakras exist for beginners who practice that path of yoga, but for the one who is practicing self inquiry, they do not exist. Aham Brahmasmi is only a thought. Who says it? Brahman doesn't say so. What need is there for him to say it? Nor can the real Aham say so, for Aham only abides as Brahm. Saying it is only a thought. Who is thought is it? All thoughts are from the unreal, the ego. Remain without thinking. So long as there is thought, there will be fear. So long there is thought, even of Aham Brahmasmi, there will be forgetfulness. Aham Brahmasmi is only an aid to concentration. It keeps off other thoughts. That one thought alone persists. See whose is that thought. It will be found to be from I, where from the I thought, propped into it. I thought will vanish. The Supreme Self will shine by itself. No effort is there. When the one real I remains alone, I will not be saying I am Brahm. Does a man say I am a man unless he is challenged? Why should he declare himself a man? Does anyone mistake him for a brute that he should say, no, I am not a brute, I am a man? Similarly, Brahm or I being alone, there is no one there is to challenge it, and so there is no need to be saying I am Brahm. Devotee asked, why should I meditate on heart? Maharishi said, because you seek consciousness. Where else can you find it? Can you reach it externally? You have to find it internally. Therefore, you are directed inward. Again, heart is the only the seat of consciousness. Devotee asked, on what should we meditate? Maharishi said, who is the meditator? Ask that question first. Remain as the meditator. There is then no need to meditate. It is the sense of doership that is the impediment to dhyana. Devotee asked, why does not the mind sink into the heart even while meditating? Maharishi said, a floating body doesn't readily sink unless some means are adopted for doing so. Pranayama makes the mind quiescent. The mind must be alive and meditation pursued unremittingly, even when it is at peace. It sinks into the heart, or the floating body might be loaded with weights and made to sink. So also satsanga will make the mind sink into the heart. Satsanga is both out and in. The externally visible guru pushes the mind inward. He is also in the hearts of the seekers, and so he draws the inward bent mind into the heart. This question is asked only when the man begins to meditate and finds the difficulty. Let him practice pranayama just a little. The mind will be purified. It doesn't now sink into the heart because the sanskaras stand as obstacles. They are removed by pranayama or satsanga. In fact, the mind is always in the heart, but it is restive and moves about due to sanskaras. When the sanskaras are made ineffective, it will be restful and at peace. By pranayama, the mind will be quiescent only temporarily, because the sanskaras are still there. If the mind is made Atmakara, one who abides in Atma, it will be no longer give trouble. That is done by meditation. It is necessary to be aware while controlling thoughts. Otherwise, it will lead to sleep. Awareness is the chief factor and is indicated by the fact of emphasizing pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses, dharana, single mindedness, dhyana, meditation, total concentration, samadhi, absorption, union. Even after pranayama makes the mind steady and suppresses thoughts. Why is this not enough? Because awareness is the one necessary factor. Such states are imitated by taking morphia, chloroform, etc., but they do not lead to liberation. Meditation is one form of approach that will drive away other thoughts. The one thought of God will dominate over others. That is concentration. The object of meditation is thus the same as that of vichara. Devotee asked, what is the heart? Maharishi said, it is the seat, if such may be said, of the self. It is not the physical heart. Devotee asked how to overcome discomforts of the body when sitting for meditation, such as mosquito nuisances. Maharishi said, you wish to gain concentration, then whatever happens to the body, never mind. Keep up the same strain of thought, effort. The bodily discomfort will pass away, so do not think of the discomfort, but keep mind firm on your meditation. If you are not strong enough to resist the attacks of mosquitoes, then how can you hope to gain realization? It is like waiting for the waves of the ocean to subside before you enter to bathe. Be strong and keep up the constant effort. A devotee who asked for Maharishi's grace and was told, you have it, felt a throb in the center of his chest like a slight pressure. He felt happy and extraordinarily peaceful. He asked Maharishi about it later, and Maharishi said, hold that sensation firmly whenever the mind is distracted.